All right. Well, welcome to this quick snapshot of our impact model set up for some of our Alabama clients. So what we're looking at is a model that we put together for Baldwin County, Alabama. We also work with Mobile County next door there. And what this impact model does is really helps an economic development organization or a local government understand the value of a new project and even be able to evaluate potential property tax abatements or maybe other economic development investments in that project. So right now we've got this one-page summary. So we have a city summary as well as from the perspective of the county, what types of summary the impact has there. So for my project, I've got this manufacturing project. We can see this just fits on one page, so if I zoom out a little bit, we can see just kind of a nice one-page summary that will print out for you. And you can see we're trying to summarize the jobs, the salaries, the capital investment, as well as then the additional tax revenues and costs for the city in this case. We also have the summary for the county. In this project we have a plywood manufacturer. They're going to create 50 direct jobs when we apply our multipliers for this specific industry in this particular county. We're going to be seeing that we have a total of 104 jobs, so essentially almost or 54 spin-off jobs, so indirect and induced jobs. From the perspective of the average salaries, the direct workers are going to make $35,000 a year. The spin-off workers make a little bit less, so across all of the new workers it's about $31,000. The project has a $2.4 million capital investment. We expect some new residential development in the community. We can see that we expect some of the workers maybe to relocate or to move to the area and potentially build new homes. So from the perspective of the city's tax revenues, we're picking up a number of the local revenues there that you can see, like sales taxes, the share specifically that goes to the city, the city's portion of their property tax rates, even picking up utility revenue, utility franchise fees, and so forth. On the cost side, we want to account for the cost of providing those city-owned utilities as well as providing municipal services like police, fire, EMS, those sorts of things. So on a net basis, as we look at this one, the city is projected to receive approximately $132,000 over the next 10 years on looking at all of those net benefits. If we want to see what that looks like year by year on this summary, we show the benefits here in green above the line and the benefits in red, or excuse me, the costs below the line in red, and the net benefit line just going through there to show what the net benefit is each year. And as I mentioned, in this model we can take a look at different scenarios related to tax abatements or other incentives. So if you were thinking about doing a tax abatement on all the different types of property, we can do that here just by selecting it. And now we can see what happens for each one of the taxing entities. We were looking at a summary for the city, but we can see here first what's happening with the county. We can see the city's tax revenues are being abated as well. When we get to the school district, as we know in Alabama, we're not going to be abating school district portion of property taxes, so that's not affected. We have a hospital district where we are abating, and then the state portion, with exception of the school district portion of the state, will be abated. And so if we go back to our city summary, we can see how this adjusts, and now our net benefits have fallen a little bit, and that's a function of the fact that now we are abating those taxes. So here our real property tax and FF&E taxes after abatement are 0, and so that reduces our net benefits. So our net benefits get even a little bit smaller here as we go along. If we wanted to, we can also take a look at a possible incentive other than the abatement, maybe like some infrastructure that might be being paid for by the city, let's say, if the city was going to contribute in some way, and we wanted to say maybe $50,000 for this infrastructure grant, whatever it may be. And in that case, we can see a $50,000 investment in upfront with our reference line helps us compare that to the net benefits that the city receives. This blue line represents the net benefits, that's $69,000 over 10 years. The intersection shows us our payback, so we have a 6.7 year payback period with a 14% average annual rate of return. That's also included on this summary too, down below, just to show what our incentive is. We can give a description to that incentive if we wanted to. So if we wanted to call it a job grant or whatever it may be, we can have that update, and we can see that come through in our report here as well. We can see our 6.7-year payback period. Now let's imagine a case where we were going to offer this $50,000, but we were not going to do that abatement that we discussed. So if we're just looking at without an abatement across any of the districts, how does that affect the overall analysis? And we can see now our net benefits jump up back to the 132 over 10 years, and our incentive, now we're comparing the 150,000 against the 130, excuse me, we're comparing the $50,000 incentive to the $132,000 net benefit over 10 years. So our payback period shortens to 3 years, our rate of return increases. Just as I mentioned before, we have a summary that we can look at from the county's perspective and see what their net benefits will be over, say, a 10-year period based on their local share of sales taxes, their property tax rate, and so forth. In this case, for this project, it's about $46,000 in net benefits, so relatively modest net benefits from the county's perspective. We can see we have a couple other reports in this model that will allow us to look at in more detail. We were looking at one-page summaries there for those impacts just for the city and county, but we can also get into more detail for each one of the entities. So if we wanted to see what happened more specifically with the school district or the state, we can see that. All of this information is kind of entered in here by the user. The way that this model is set up for Baldwin County, we can enter the name of the project, specify where it's located in the county, so we have a drop-down that lists all of the cities. And we can give a description of the project that will flow through, and just a number of other inputs that we collect the information about the project, and then using the assumptions and tax rates that we've built into the model that's customized for Baldwin County or even Mobile County. We can calculate all of these impacts that you see here in our summary and then even in the more detailed reports that we have. That's everything we wanted to talk about today. Please let us know if you're interested in learning more about these impact models for Alabama.